Hello everyone. Today I want to tell you a story that, just hearing it, might send chills down your spine. Deep in a quiet forest, Lytieunu lives alone with little Dewey, carrying a 3-month-old child in her belly. Truong's child, the man who vanished without a single goodbye. She tries to live peacefully, tries to stay strong, but every meal with just the two of them. Every night, her hand rests on her stomach. The longing bites at every breath she takes. Then one morning, the impossible happened. Lytieunu opened her eyes and heard unfamiliar footsteps in the yard. She rushed outside and froze. Truong was sweeping the yard. His eyes looked at her. So gentle, it almost broke her heart. He said only one sentence, "I'm home. Don't be afraid anymore." But the moment she reached out to touch him, everything disappeared. Truong dissolved into the wind. Lytieunu jolted awake, sweat covering her forehead. It was all just a dream. But the most terrifying part was she could still feel Truong's warmth right beside her. So, was it truly just a dream, or is Truong already on his way back? When the first rays of sunlight slipped through the dew-covered forest canopy, Lytieunu gently pushed open the wooden door of her new home. The hinges let out a soft creak that echoed in the quiet morning, a small sound. Yet it felt like a greeting from a life she was finally beginning again. She carried little Dewey in her arms. The boy was still sleepy, his eyes half closed, his cheek resting warmly on her shoulder. His breath was soft, carrying the sweet scent of milk, and it softened Lytieunu's heart in a way she could never quite describe. The morning breeze carried the smell of wildflowers, moist earth, and a peace she never thought she would ever touch again. The porch was lined with wide wooden planks, so new that in the morning light, the honey-brown color gleamed like liquid amber. The house sat deep in the forest, surrounded by tall, straight trees. Sunlight filtered through in thin, dancing strands, like someone had scattered thousands of golden threads through the air. Dewey rubbed his eyes and wrapped his arms tighter around her neck, mumbling in a voice still heavy with sleep, "Mom, are we gonna live here forever?" Lytieunu lowered her head, kissed his soft hair, and pressed her forehead gently against his. "Yes. From today on, this will be our home." Just that one sentence was enough to make her chest tighten. A house, something ordinary to so many people, had been her unreachable dream for years. After storms, after running after nights holding her child without knowing where tomorrow would lead, suddenly, everything felt like it had finally fallen away. That peaceful feeling settled on her thin shoulders like a warm blanket, as if the burdens of the past years were finally taking their leave. She set Dewey down on the porch. The boy pushed himself up, took a few clumsy steps, then looked around with wide, sparkling eyes. "Mom, our house is so pretty. Look, birds, and so many trees." She laughed, a light sound like morning wind. The whole forest seemed brighter because of his excitement. "That's right. It's beautiful here. And from today on, we'll start over in this place." Lytieunu stepped down the porch and pulled open the door to the storage shed behind the house. The smell of dry firewood and new gardening tools drifted out. She had organized everything neatly the previous afternoon. Bamboo baskets for gathering greens, a small hoe, a cutting knife woven trays. Everything clean and ready for a new day to begin. She asked Dewey, "Today, Mommy's going to gather wild vegetables. Do you want to come or stay here and play?" Dewey thought for a moment, his little brows furrowing just like hers. Then he shook his head. "I stay here. I want to play with the stones I found yesterday." "Okay, but don't go far from the porch." He nodded rapidly as if insisting, "I'm big now." Tieu picked up her bamboo basket and walked down a small slope leading into the forest behind the house. She had walked this path before, but never once imagined that one day it would truly belong to her like a private trail for just mother and child. The sky was bright and cloudless. Birds called from every direction. Leaves rustled softly in the wind. Everything was so peaceful. She felt that if she just relaxed her shoulders, she might start crying. Not from sadness, but from a happiness so sudden it almost hurt. She gathered wild greens, tying each bunch neatly. Soft grass brushed against her feet. Sunlight poured through the trees in shifting patterns glowing on the forest floor. For a moment, Tieu felt like she had slipped back into her childhood, those days when her mother used to take her to pick greens behind their old house before life forced her to grow up too soon. When the basket was full, she stood up, brushed the dirt off her dress, and headed back. Each step felt lighter, brighter. No more rushing. No more panicked breathing. No more fear chasing her from behind. When she reached home, she saw Dee sitting on the porch, placing 2 stones side by side and whispering to them as if creating his own little world. "What are you doing?" Tieu asked, setting down the basket. "I'm building a tiny house for my stones, Mom." She laughed. "My little boy is so clever." Dewey looked at the basket of greens. "Can I go with you next time?" "Next time. For now, we need to take these to the market." Tieu tied her hair, neatly lifted the basket onto her shoulder, and took Dewey's hand as they followed the dirt path toward the small forest market. It wasn't a big place, just rows of wooden stalls covered with old sheets of tin roofing. Buyers and sellers all knew each other. And today, when she arrived, many eyes turned toward her, some curious, some surprised, some simply smiling. Tieu moved up to the forest already. She nodded with a soft smile. "Yes, it'll be just me and my son from now on." A vegetable vendor glanced at Dewey and said, "Well, the boy's grown so much. Selling wild greens today too, huh?" Tieu placed each bundle neatly onto her small stall. Her hands moved quickly, her expression calm. She was no longer the fragile woman she used to be. Every movement, every way she arranged the greens, showed strength, quiet, steady, undeniable. Dewey stood beside her, watching with pride shining in his eyes. A man walking by teased, "Hey Dewey, when you grow up, make sure to help your mom, okay?" Dewey puffed up his chest and shouted, "When I grow up, I'll build a big house for my mommy." The whole market burst into laughter. Tieu blushed and gently rubbed his head. When all the greens were sold, mother and son walked home under the bright midday sun. The wooden house seemed to glow, as if welcoming them back. Tiêunu prepared lunch. She washed the greens, cut the meat, and lit the fire. The crackling of burning wood filled the kitchen. The gentle scent of wild vegetables drifted through the house. Dui ran around, excitedly asking every few minutes, "Mom, can I help?" "You can help by sitting down and waiting to eat." "Yes, ma'am." She laughed again. In that moment, her life felt beautifully simple. Just Doi this home, and warm meals, nothing more needed. When the two of them sat down to their modest meal, full of warmth and happiness, Tiêunu quietly looked at her son. Then around the small wooden house. The house was simple. The life was simple. But for the first time, she felt truly alive. She whispered softly to herself, "From today on, we really start again." Dusk settled slowly, the last streaks of sunlight brushing against the forest canopy before fading away, leaving behind the deep blue hue of twilight. Inside the small kitchen, the firelight cast a warm glow across Tiêunu's face, tinting her cheeks with a soft blush. The scent of steamed rice drifted through the air, mingling with the smell of burning wood, creating a peace so gentle it felt almost unreal. She was slicing vegetables, each movement slow, steady, as though her hands were trying to hold on to the fragile calm of this new life. Beside her, the wood stove glowed red. Tiny sparks popped against the metal, fading just as quickly, their flickering light rising and falling like the quiet breath of the little wooden house. Little Dewey sat on a short wooden stool, hugging his old stuffed bear. His eyes following every move his mother made. After a while, he asked, "Mom, what are we eating today?" "Stir-fried forest greens, braised fish, and sour soup." Tiêunu smiled as she gently stirred the pot simmering on the stove. "All my favorite dishes," Dewey cheered, kicking his legs excitedly. Hearing that warmed her heart. Life in this forest home was simple, but it was enough for the love she carried for her son. When dinner was ready, Tiêunu placed the small pot of soup on the table. The meal was humble, yet so cozy that just looking at it made one want to sit down right away. Mother and child faced each other, the only sounds being the soft clinking of spoons and the evening wind brushing against the roof. Dewey ate happily. Between mouthfuls, he talked about his day at school. Today my teacher said I'm the smallest in the class, but I write the fastest." "Really? My son is amazing," Tiêunu said with a gentle smile. Dewey continued, talking about friends, the tree in the schoolyard, even the chubby cat the teacher kept. Every word he spoke was pure bright, like remnants of sunlight lingering in the coming night. And Tiêunu, she just listened. Every smile from her son warmed her heart. But the warmer it got, the deeper her longing became. More than once, while placing a piece of fish in Dewey's bowl, her eyes drifted toward the empty chair across from her. That silent, hollow space pressed painfully against her chest. No one sat there. Yet, in her memory, the image of someone sitting in that seat was so vivid It felt like she only needed to reach out to touch him. Truong. His gentle smile, his dirt-stained clothes from helping her build this house, his wind-tousled hair, his rough hands that always shielded her and Dewey with such care. She remembered everything. And the more she remembered, the more it hurt. Dewey noticed her gaze falter. He stopped eating, set his chopsticks down, and tilted his head. Mom, you miss Dad. Truong, don't you? Tieu froze. She couldn't lie. But she also didn't know how to answer in a way that wouldn't break her own heart. Yes, I miss him, she whispered, her voice trembling. Dewey reached out and gently touched the back of her hand. His tiny palm was warm, the kind of warmth that could make her cry if she allowed herself to. Don't be sad, Mom. Dad Truong loves you. Children, often understood more than adults gave them credit for. After dinner, Dai ran outside to play with fallen branches while Tieu washed the dishes. She looked up. Occasionally, the sky had darkened, stars beginning to peek through the vast blue. The night breeze picked up. The fire in the stove died down. When everything was done, she placed her hand on her belly. It wasn't very big yet, just a slight curve, but inside was a tiny life, stirring gently, a heartbeat of hope. She caressed the spot slowly, lovingly. A small being, her and Truong's child. Just the thought of it made her close her eyes. Truong. She whispered the name so soft even the wind might carry it away. If he were here, if he could see this home, if he could watch his son eat so happily, if he could place his hand on her belly and hear that tiny heartbeat. It would be wonderful. The words slipped out like a sigh, soft as air, heavy as a wish held for years. She leaned against the door frame, letting the night wind tousle her hair, letting the longing spill out freely for once. In the forest, insects began their nighttime chorus, signaling the arrival of night. The oil lamp cast her shadow on the wall, a small silhouette, yet filled with the strength of a woman who had endured enough storms to understand the true value of peace. And in that vast silence, she wished for only one thing, that somewhere out there, Truong was still alive, that he missed her too, that one day he would find the path back to this wooden house in the forest and knock gently on the door where only mother and child waited. The night stretched on, but inside Tieu burned a fire that would never go out. A small faith, a quiet resilience, a call that would forever reach toward the man she feared she had lost. Truong, can you hear me? The forest wind rustled a faint, uncertain answer, but for Tieu, even that was enough to help her keep going. That night, the forest was strangely still. A gentle breeze brushed against the wooden roof of the small house, creating a faint whisper like nature's own lullaby. Inside the little room, Tieu pulled a thin blanket up to cover Dewey. The boy slept soundly, his breathing soft and steady, his long lashes trembling slightly as if chasing a dream. Tieu sat by his bedside for a moment watching him. She reached out, stroking his soft hair. A faint smile appeared on her lips, but quickly faded into the quiet sadness lingering in her eyes. She stood up and blew out the oil lamp. The small flame flickered once before disappearing, leaving only the pale moonlight pouring through the window. When she lay down, her hand instinctively rested on her belly, where a tiny life was growing day by day. Exhaustion, both physical and emotional, washed over her, and she drifted into sleep fast. A sleep full of hazy, shifting images, like being pulled into another world. In her dream, footsteps echoed on the wooden porch outside. Soft, familiar. So familiar, they made her heart tighten instinctively. She opened her eyes, though still dreaming everything felt real. Her hand slipped away from her belly. Her heartbeat thumped wildly. The footsteps sounded again, just a faint creak, but loud enough to resonate deep inside her. Lytieunu rose from the bed, her hands trembling. She opened the door and stepped into the main room. A thin strip of silvery light leaked through the crack beneath the front door. The night wind swept through, lifting the fabric curtain. She could hear the wind, the rustle of leaves, and someone standing outside. Slowly, she walked toward the door. Every step pierced straight into the longing buried in her chest. Her hand touched the latch, quivering. Just one gentle pull, the door swung open, and he was there, truong, tall, but thinner than before. His skin darkened by sun and hardship, his features sharpened as though he had lived through countless difficult days. But his eyes, those deep, warm eyes, still the same ones that once looked at her with so much love. He stood silent in the moonlight, as if he had walked through the whole forest just to stand in front of her again. The wind ruffled his hair. His clothes carried dust from the road. In one hand, he held the old broom he used to sweep the yard with every evening. When he saw her, the corner of his lips lifted the familiar smile that clenched her chest painfully. Truong bent down, picked up the broom with one hand, just like he always used to, and said in a voice soft but steady, as if he had never left, "I'm home to take care of our house again." The words were gentle as a breeze, yet strong enough to make her knees weaken. Her entire world collapsed and rebuilt itself again in a single heartbeat. That voice felt too real. Real enough to make her cry right where she stood. She stepped toward him. One slow step, then another, until she could no longer hold back. "Truong, is it really you?" she whispered, her voice shaking, barely audible. He looked at her eyes, warm, unwavering. He didn't need to answer. The smile alone was enough for her to believe. She ran to him. All the pain, the loneliness, the months of aching hope burst open in that single moment. She wanted to hold him, touch him, feel the warmth of his chest, the warmth that had once carried her through the darkest nights. Her hand reached up, trembling, brushing against his shoulder, and the moment her fingertips touched him, a sudden gust of wind rushed in from the forest. The wind roared like a rising wave. Dry leaves spiraled violently around him. The entire forest blurred. The moonlight stretched into long streaks of white. The door dissolved into mist. The trees dissolved. The porch dissolved. And Truong, he too began to dissolve into that pale, swirling mist. "No! Truong, wait! Don't go, Truong!" Lytieunu cried, lunging forward. But her feet wouldn't move. She couldn't reach him. couldn't pull him back. The wind grew harsher, dragging him away from her, away from this world. Truong looked at her, his eyes full of sorrow. He tried reaching out his hand, stretching toward her. The distance was only a few inches, but still unreachable. His voice echoed one last time, faint, distant, like coming from a place she could never touch. "Nu, wait for me." She reached for him again, one last time, but her hand closed around nothing. His eyes faded. His smile dissolved. His figure blended into the white mist and vanished completely. A strangled cry tore out of her chest. Tiêunu jolted awake. Cold sweat clung to her forehead. Her heart pounded violently. The room was dark and silent, with only Dewey's steady breathing beside her. She looked around. No truong, no mist, no moonlit porch. It was all just a dream, but the feeling of losing him all over again hurt for real. Her hand pressed against her chest, fighting for breath. Then she lowered her gaze, placed her palm on her belly. A single tear fell onto the blanket. In the quiet darkness, she whispered, "Truong, can you hear me? We miss you so much." Outside, the night wind moved through the trees, carrying a sound faint enough to be anything footsteps, or just wind brushing against leaves. She didn't know. She didn't try to know. She simply closed her eyes again, held her belly close, clinging to the fading dream as if holding on to the last fragile piece of hope she had left. And now, I want to ask you, the ones watching this video, a question that even Tiêunu herself can't answer. If it were you, would you believe her dream is a sign that Truong is about to return? Or do you think it's just her longing becoming so overwhelming that her mind created an image to comfort her? And what do you think? Where is Truong really? And why has he been gone for so long? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Every comment helps me understand how you feel about the story. But more importantly, your thoughts will help shape the next chapter in the most honest and emotional way. Tell me, do you want Truong to come back? Or do you want Tiêunu to rise on her own and build a new life without relying on anyone? Your opinion will decide the direction of the next episode. And I promise the upcoming chapter will bring twists you won't be able to look away from. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to leave a comment. And I'll see you in the next episode where the truth about Truong may finally be revealed.